Welcome back everyone. I am Vishnupriya Chaudhary and we are studying design of RCC structures. This is lecture number 10 in its first module, that is basic properties of concrete, and also the last lecture of this module. In the last lecture we have studied about shrinkage, then the effects of temperature variations in concrete, behavior of concrete under tension, and some of the indirect methods to estimate the tensile strength of concrete, like flexural strength test and cylinder splitting test. Okay, so in this lecture we'll start with the reinforcing steel. So as we all know that concrete is a brittle material and it is very weak in tension. So we have to reinforce it with some material which possess higher tensile strength than the concrete. Okay, and reinforcement means the process of strengthening. So by embedding other material or by reinforcing the concrete with other material which has higher tensile strength, we make our concrete strong in taking the tension also, right? And the materials which can be used for the reinforcement of concrete may be copper, alumina, wood, jute fibers, asbestos, steel, etc. ओके, इनमें से आप कोई भी मटेरियल चूज कर सकते हो फॉर द reinforcement of the concrete to make the concrete strong in tension also, but we choose steel over the other materials because of some advantages. Now, what advantages the steel has over other materials? First of all, the coefficient of thermal expansion of both concrete and steel are almost same. So whenever there will be any temperature variations, the deformations in steel and concrete are almost same, and there will be no relative motion between the two materials due to the variation in temperature. Because of this, there will be less tendency of the development of cracks and internal stresses. So this is the first advantage. The second advantage is that the steel bonds very well with the concrete. And the third one is that the steel is recyclable, it is inexpensive and easily available material. So we use steel as the reinforcing material in the concrete for making it strong in taking up the tension also. We'll write all these points one by one, that reinforcement means the process of strengthening. Concrete is a brittle material and it is very weak in tension. It is reinforced with a material which has strong tensile load carrying capacity, like copper, jute fibers, asbestos, alumina, wood, steel, etc. Steel is chosen as reinforcing material for concrete because of following reasons. First reason, the coefficients of thermal expansion of steel and concrete are almost same. So both of them expands and contracts to the same extent on variations in temperature, right? Then the second point is that steel bonds well with the concrete. And the last advantage is that steel is recyclable, inexpensive, and easily available. Okay, now we will write what are the effects of reinforcing the concrete with steel. So first effect is that steel embedded in concrete called reinforcing steel can effectively take up the tension that is induced due to flexural tension, direct tension, diagonal tension, or environmental conditions. Okay, सो कॉन्क्रीट में जो भी टेंशन आएगी, वेदर इट इज अ फ्लेक्सुरल टेंशन क्या होती है कि बेंडिंग की वजह से जो टेंसाइल स्ट्रेसेस आते हैं उन्हें हम फ्लेक्सुरल टेंसाइल स्ट्रेसेस बोलते हैं या फिर फ्लेक्सुरल टेंशन बोलते हैं। मेंबर के बेंड होने की वजह से जो भी टेंशन आएगी दैट इज फ्लेक्सुरल टेंशन। और ड्यू टू द डायरेक्ट टेंशन, जो डायरेक्ट टेंसाइल लोडिंग की वजह से स्ट्रेसेस आ रहे हैं वो डायरेक्ट टेंसाइल स्ट्रेसेस कहे जाएंगे। और ड्यू टू द डायगोनल टेंशन, प्योर शेयर का केस ले लो फॉर एग्जांपल, इन दैट केस ऑफ द प्योर शेयर टेंशन कम्स ऑन द डायगोनल्स, दैट इज द डायगोनल टेंशन। और टेंशन में कम इन कॉन्क्रीट ड्यू टू द एनवायरमेंटल इफेक्ट्स, एनवायरमेंटल कंडीशंस। तो किसी भी रीजन की वजह से अगर कॉन्क्रीट में टेंशन आ रही है तो दैट टेंशन विल बी टेकन बाय द रिइंफोर्सिंग स्टील। ओके, कॉन्क्रीट को कोई टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, सारी की सारी टेंशन रिइंफोर्सिंग स्टील बेयर कर लेगा, राइट। द सेकेंड इफेक्ट ऑफ स्टील इज दैट रिइंफोर्सिंग स्टील also imparts ductility to the concrete which is otherwise brittle। ओके, जब हम स्टील को एम्बेड करते हैं कॉन्क्रीट में, देन इट प्रोवाइड्स डक्टिलिटी टू द कॉन्क्रीट विच अदरवाइज इज अ ब्रिटल मटेरियल। कॉन्क्रीट ऐसे तो ब्रिटल मटेरियल है बट स्टील रिइंफोर्समेंट के बाद में वो डक्टाइल बन जाएगा। नाउ ब्रिटल मीन्स, ब्रिटल का क्या इफेक्ट होएगा? इट्स इफेक्ट इज दैट whenever there will be a failure, the failure will be sudden and no prior warning will be given before the failure. But in case of ductile material, the failure will be gradual and sufficient time will be given before the failure, right? So reinforcing steel imparts ductility in the concrete. And the third point is that steel is stronger than concrete in compression also. Hence, concrete can be advantageously reinforced with steel for bearing compressive stresses as well. For example, in columns. So steel is also remarkably strong in compression than the concrete. So steel can advantageously used in concrete structures for bearing the compressive stresses also. स्टील क्योंकि कंक्रीट से कंप्रेशन में भी स्ट्रॉन्ग है, तो हम स्टील को कंक्रीट में एम्बेड करवा सकते हैं फॉर बेयरिंग कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेसेस आल्सो, लाइक वी डू इन द केस ऑफ कॉलम्स. कॉलम्स आर द मेंबर्स विच आर यूज्ड टू टेक अप द कंप्रेसिव लोडिंग्स, और वहां पर कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेसेस जनरेट होंगे. सो अगर स्टील एम्बेड किया हुआ है कंक्रीट में, देन दैट स्टील will take up the compressive stresses also in the columns, right? Now we will see the stress strain curves for different grades of steel, and these stress strain curves are obtained by performing standard tension test on the steel specimens. So stress strain curves for different grades of steel. The stress strain curve of reinforcing steel is obtained by performing a standard tension test. तो हमने डिफरेंट ग्रेड्स ऑफ स्टील स्पेसिमेंस पर स्टैंडर्ड टेंशन टेस्ट परफॉर्म किया एंड प्लॉटेड द स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व्स फॉर डिफरेंट ग्रेड्स ऑफ द स्टील बाय परफॉर्मिंग द स्टैंडर्ड टेंशन टेस्ट, एंड वी ऑब्जर्व्ड दैट देयर इज एन इनिशियल लीनियर पोर्शन which is same for all the grades of the steel, and slope of that linear portion will give us the modulus of elasticity, which will again will be same for all the grades of the steel, and the code specifies a value of 2 into 10 to the power 5 megapascal for the modulus of elasticity for all the grades of steel. जब हमने stress strain curve प्लॉट किए फॉर डिफरेंट ग्रेड्स ऑफ द स्टील बाय परफॉर्मिंग स्टैंडर्ड टेंशन टेस्ट, तो हमने ऑब्जर्व किया कि देयर इज एन इनिशियल लीनियर इलास्टिक पोर्शन विच इज सेम फॉर ऑल द ग्रेड्स ऑफ द स्टील. Okay, and the slope of that linear portion will give us the modulus of elasticity, which will be same for all the grades of the steel, and its value is given by the code as 2 into 10 to the power 5 megapascal, which will be same for all the grades of the steel. Okay, so these are the stress strain curves for different grades of the steel, that is Fe250, Fe415 and Fe500. सारे stress strain curves को plot करने के बाद में हमने observe किया कि there is an initial linear elastic portion which is same for all the grades of the steel, and slope of this linear portion will give us the value of elastic modulus of the different grades of steel. And from here we have observed that elastic modulus for all the grades of the steel is same, and the code has specified its value as 2 into 10 की power 5 mega pascal. Okay, so we'll write all these points that for all grades there is an initial linear elastic portion with constant slope which gives a modulus of elasticity ES that is practically same for all grades. The code IS 456 in the clause 5.6.3 specifies the value of ES to be considered in design is 2 into 10 की power 5 megapascal or Newton per mm square. Okay, so these are the stress strain curves for different grades of the steel, and for comparison purpose, if we will plot the stress strain curves for concrete and steel on the same scale, then we'll find that the stress strain curve for M25 grade of concrete will be like this. So this is the stress strain curve for M25 grade of concrete in compression, and these are the stress strain curves for different grades of the steel in tension. From here we can observe that there is an enormous difference in the ultimate strength, strain and elastic modulus of concrete and steel. जब हमने stress strain curve for concrete and steel को same scale पे plot किया, तो हमने पाया कि there is an enormous difference between the ultimate strength, strain and elastic modulus of concrete and steel. Okay, also one more point is need to be taken into consideration here is that the stress strain curve for steel in case of tension and compression will come out to be almost same, but in case of concrete, as we know that the tensile strength of concrete is only a fraction of the compressive strength of concrete, so the stress strain curve in case of tension and compression for the concrete will also differ from each other. Okay, अगर स्टील की बात करें तो टेंशन और कंप्रेशन में उसके स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व्स ऑलमोस्ट सेम निकल कर आएंगे, बट अगर कंक्रीट की बात करें तो टेंशन और कंप्रेशन में कंक्रीट के जो स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व्स होंगे they will differ from each other. Okay, so we'll write all these points that for comparison the stress strain curve for M25 concrete is also plotted to the same scale, and we noted that there is an enormous difference in the ultimate strength, strain, and elastic modulus between concrete and steel. Also, for steel, the stress strain curve in compression is identical to the one in tension, provided buckling is restrained. In contrast, for concrete, the tensile strength and strain are only a small fraction of the corresponding value in compression. So, stress strain curves for concrete in case of tension and compression will differ from each other. Okay, so when we plotted the stress strain curve of concrete and steel on the same scale, then we have observed that there is an enormous difference in the ultimate strength, strain, elastic modulus between concrete and steel. Second point is that for steel, the stress strain curve in compression is identical to the one in tension, provided buckling is restrained. स्टील के केस में स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व्स इन कंप्रेशन एंड टेंशन विल बी आइडेंटिकल प्रोवाइडेड द बकलिंग इज रेस्ट्रेंड इन केस ऑफ कंप्रेशन. अगर कंप्रेशन के केस में बकलिंग को रेस्ट्रेन कर दिया जाए तो स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व्स फॉर स्टील इन कंप्रेशन एंड टेंशन will be identical, but in case of concrete, as we know that tensile strength is only a fraction of its compressive strength, so the stress strain curves for concrete in tension and compression will differ from each other, right? Now we will separately draw the stress strain curve for this mild steel, that is Fe 250, and see some of its salient features. Okay, so now we will draw the stress strain curve for mild steel, that is Fe 250, right? On y-axis it will be stress and on x-axis it will be strain. Now we will plot the stress strain variation for mild steel. This is the stress strain curve for mild steel, that is Fe 250, and from this we observe that initially there will be a linear elastic portion from O to A. Okay, then after A the curve will not remain linear, but the material will remain elastic up to the point B. So the portion OA will be the linear elastic part and the portion AB will be the non-linear elastic part. Now, what do you mean by linear? What do you mean by elastic? Let us see the meaning of these terms one by one. Linear means that the stress will be proportional to the strain. Okay, the stress strain curve will be a line, and we can say that the ratio of stress and the strain will be constant in that linear region. Okay, so in the linear region the stress will be proportional to strain, or we can say that Hooke's law will be obeyed, and the slope of that line will give you the modulus of elasticity of the material in the linear region. Now, what do you mean by elastic? It means that if we load the specimen in that elastic region, then after unloading, the specimen will regain its original dimensions. This is the meaning of the elastic, right? So the portion OA will be the linear elastic portion. It means that in this portion, stress will be proportional to the strain and the material will regain its original dimensions upon unloading. But the portion AB will be the non-linear elastic portion. It means that the stress will not be proportional to the strain in this region, but the material will regain its original dimensions upon unloading. Okay, so we can say that stress will be proportional to the strain up to the point A only. So A is known as the proportional limit. A is the proportional limit in the curve, and the portion OA will be linear elastic region. Then after A, non-linearity will begin, but up to the point B, the material will remain elastic. So the portion AB will be non-linear elastic region, and the point B तक ही मटेरियल इलास्टिक रहेगा, उसके बाद में मटेरियल इलास्टिक नहीं रहेगा. सो द पॉइंट B इज नोन एज द इलास्टिक limit for the material. So point B is the elastic limit. Then we will get a point C, which is known as upper yield point. Afterwards we'll get a point C dash, which is the lower yield point, right? And लोअर यील्ड पॉइंट के कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग जो स्ट्रेस होता है वो हमें यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ देता है मटेरियल का. सो कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग टू दिस लोअर यील्ड पॉइंट सी डैश, अगर हम स्ट्रेस फाइंड आउट करें, देन इट विल गिव यू द यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द मटेरियल. देन देयर विल बी अ यील्ड प्लेटू सी डैश डी इन विच the strain increases at almost constant stress. So C dash D is known as yield plateau. Then there will be a strain hardening region DE in which stress also increases with the increase in the strain but at a decreasing rate. DE जो region है उसमें स्ट्रेन के इंक्रीज होने के साथ साथ स्ट्रेस भी इंक्रीज हो रहा है, बट स्ट्रेस इज इंक्रीजिंग एट अ डिक्रीजिंग रेट, राइट? एंड रेट विल बी गिवन बाय द स्लोप ऑफ द टेंजेंट एट एनी पॉइंट. तो अगर हम स्लोप ऑफ द टेंजेंट को एनालाइज करें, देन वी कैन सी दैट इट इज डिक्रीजिंग. सो द स्ट्रेस विल इंक्रीज विद द इंक्रीज in the strain but at a decreasing rate. So DE is the strain hardening region, and stress will increase up to the point E, which is known as the ultimate stress point. So E is the ultimate stress point. Then there will be a descending portion EF, and the stress will decrease with the increase in the strain till the fracture point F is reached. So F is the fracture point at which the material will fail. And why we are getting this descending portion? Because we are representing the nominal stress through this descending portion. So the nominal stress is the load divided by original area, and it will decrease with the increase in strain in the region EF. But if we'll talk about the actual stress, which is the load divided by actual reduced cross-sectional area, then this actual stress will show an increasing trend. Okay, but nominal stress, which is the load divided by original area, that will show a descending trend, right? So we'll write all these points. The stress strain curve of mild steel is characterized by an initial linear elastic part that is followed by an yield plateau where the strain increases at almost constant stress, followed in turn by a strain hardening range in which the stress once again increases with increasing strain, although at a decreasing rate until the peak stress, which is known as tensile strength, is reached. Okay. Finally, there is a descending branch wherein the nominal stress, that is load divided by original area, decreases until fracture occurs. The actual stress in terms of load divided by the current reduced area will, however, show an increasing trend. Okay, so the stress strain curve of mild steel is characterized by an initial linear elastic part that is followed by an yield plateau where the strain increases at almost constant stress, followed in turn by a strain hardening range in which the stress once again increases with increasing strain, although at a decreasing rate until the peak stress, that is tensile strength, is reached. Then finally there is a descending branch wherein the nominal stress, that is load divided by the original area, decreases until fracture occurs. The actual stress in terms of load divided by the current reduced area will however show an increasing trend. Okay, तो डिसेंडिंग जो ब्रांच होती है वहां पर हम नॉमिनल स्ट्रेस को लेकर चलते हैं एंड नॉमिनल स्ट्रेस इज द लोड डिवाइडेड बाय ओरिजिनल एरिया, so that will show a decreasing trend. But if we talk about the actual stress, which is the load divided by actual current reduced area, then it will show an increasing trend, right? So this is all about the stress strain curve for the mild steel, that is Fe250. So now we will talk about the cold working process through which the high yield strength deformed bars are produced from the mild steel bars. So this is the stress strain curve for mild steel, and in this we will discuss about the cold working process. Okay, so in cold working process it involves the stretching and twisting of mild steel bars beyond the yield plateau. So this C-D is the yield plateau, and let us say that we have stretched and twisted the mild steel bars till some point G beyond the yield plateau C-D, and then we have released the load. So the steel will follow the path GHI. After releasing the load, we have again reloaded the material and the steel will follow the path IJK. So the unloading path GHI and the reloading path IJK are very nearly parallel to the initial linear elastic portion, that is OA. Okay, जो ये अनलोडिंग पाथ है GHI एंड रीलोडिंग पाथ है IJK, वो वेरी नियरली पैरेलल है टू द इनिशियल लीनियर इलास्टिक पोर्शन, दैट इज OA. तो ऑन reloading the steel will follow the linear elastic path IJK, which is very nearly parallel to the initial linear elastic portion, that is OA, and both of them will have the same slope, and we know that the slope will give us the modulus of elasticity, so both the materials will have the same modulus of elasticity. Okay, so on reloading the material will follow a linear elastic path IJK almost up to the point G where the unloading started, and this linear elastic path IJK is very nearly parallel to the initial linear elastic portion OA. Thereafter the material will enter into a strain hardening range and will follow the curve KEF, which is virtually a continuation of the original curve OABC C-DG. Okay, it can also be seen that cold working results in a residual strain in the steel, which is represented by OI. Okay, so this much will be the residual strain which will remain in the steel after cold working, right? एंड जो स्टील मिला है हमें आफ्टर कोल्ड वर्किंग, उसके लिए स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन डायग्राम आई से स्टार्ट होगा, एंड दिस विल बी द न्यू ओरिजिन फॉर द स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व ऑफ द स्टील विच वी ऑब्टेन आफ्टर कोल्ड वर्किंग, राइट? फ्रॉम हियर वी कैन से दैट आफ्टर कोल्ड वर्किंग द डक्टिलिटी विल ऑल्सो रिड्यूस. नाउ हमारे स्टील में इतनी ही डक्टिलिटी होगी, ओके, बट बिफोर cold working this much was the ductility in a steel. So the process of cold working will decrease the ductility in the steel, right? एक और बात है कि the process of cold working will increase the yield strength of the steel. कैसे? इस पॉइंट को समझने के लिए we'll again draw the stress strain curve of the cold worked steel. So we'll retrace the curve IJKEF. This is the curve of the steel which we obtained after cold working. Okay, So this is the stress strain diagram of the steel which we obtained after cold working. Okay, ये इसी कर्व को हमने रिट्रेस किया है IJKEF because this IJKEF curve is the stress strain diagram for the steel after cold working. क्योंकि जो cold working करने के बाद में हमें स्टील मिला है उसको reload करने पर कौन सा curve we obtained IJKEF. So we have separately drawn the stress strain diagram of the steel after cold working. Okay. So from here we can observe that yielding is gradual and no definite yield point is there. Okay. So in this case we will take yield strength as the 0.2% proof stress. Now what is 0.2% proof stress? For this we will mark 0.2% strain on the strain axis. 0.2% means 0.002 strain हम मार्क करेंगे strain axis पर, and from this point we'll draw a line which is parallel to the initial linear portion. So we'll draw a line which is parallel to the initial linear portion, और ये line जहाँ पर stress strain curve को cut करेगी उसके corresponding we'll find out the stress, and that stress will be taken as the yield strength of the steel after cold working. right? कोल्ड वर्किंग स्टील के लिए जो हमें स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व मिला है उसमें यील्डिंग ग्रेजुअल है, कोई भी डेफिनेट यील्ड पॉइंट डिफाइंड नहीं है, एंड फॉर दैट वी विल टेक यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ एज द 0.2% प्रूफ स्ट्रेस. नाउ 0.2% प्रूफ स्ट्रेस क्या होता है? हम 0.2% स्ट्रेन मार्क करेंगे ऑन द स्ट्रेन एक्सिस. 0.2% मीन्स 0.002 स्ट्रेन मार्क करेंगे ऑन द स्ट्रेन एक्सिस, एंड फ्रॉम दैट पॉइंट विल ड्रॉ अ लाइन विच इज पैरेलल टू द इनिशियल लीनियर पोर्शन ऑफ द स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व, और जहाँ पे वो लाइन कट करेगी स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व को उसके कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग जो भी स्ट्रेस निकल के आएगा उसको यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द स्टील बोलेंगे. इन दिस वे द यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द स्टील आफ्टर कोल्ड वर्किंग प्रोसेस इज इंक्रीज्ड. right? Now high yield strength for the steel after cold working can be achieved by suitably selecting the point of unloading in the strain hardening region of mild steel and by using the higher grades of the mild steel. Okay, also one more point is that increasing yield strength by cold working process will reduce the margin between the yield strength and the ultimate strength. Okay, माइल्ड स्टील के केस में क्या था? यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ हमारे लोअर यील्ड पॉइंट के कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग जो स्ट्रेस था वो थी, एंड अल्टीमेट स्ट्रेंथ ई था, एंड देयर इज अ लार्ज मार्जिन बिटवीन द यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ एंड द अल्टीमेट स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द माइल्ड स्टील. बट आफ्टर कोल्ड वर्किंग प्रोसेस हमने 0.2% प्रूफ स्ट्रेस लिया है एज आर यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ. So the margin between the yield strength and the ultimate strength will decrease after the process of the cold working, right? So we'll write these points one by one. First is cold working results in a residual strain in the steel represented by O portion OI in this curve. Okay, OI is the residual strain which will remain in the steel after cold working. Then the second point is that the process of cold working will reduce the ductility of the steel. Okay, so इसको देखें तो हमें आफ्टर कोल्ड वर्किंग इतनी डक्टिलिटी मिल रही है, बट बिफोर कोल्ड वर्किंग डक्टिलिटी ऑफ द स्टील वाज दिस मच. सो obviously the ductility will be reduced after cold working. Then the next point is that cold working effectively increases the yield strength of the steel. Okay, in cold worked and high strength steels, yielding is more gradual and there is no definite yield point. In such case, yield strength should be determined from the measured stress strain diagram as 0.2% proof stress. Okay, also increasing yield strength through cold working results in a decreased margin between yield strength and ultimate strength. For example, okay, so we have written all the points for the stress strain curve of the steel after cold working. So cold working results in a residual strain in the steel. कोल्ड वर्किंग के बाद में स्टील में एक रेजिडुअल स्ट्रेन आ जाएगा. ऑल्सो द प्रोसेस ऑफ कोल्ड वर्किंग विल रिड्यूस द डक्टिलिटी ऑफ द स्टील. कोल्ड वर्किंग के बाद में स्टील की डक्टिलिटी रिड्यूस हो जाएगी. कोल्ड वर्किंग इफेक्टिवली इंक्रीजेस द यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द स्टील. कोल्ड वर्किंग के बाद में जो स्टील की यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ है वो इफेक्टिवली इंक्रीज हो जाएगी. Then the yielding will be more gradual and there will be no definite yield point in the stress strain diagram of the steel after cold working. So the yield strength is measured as the 0.2% proof stress. Also, increasing yield strength through cold working results in a decreased margin between the yield strength and the ultimate strength of the steel. Right? उसको verify करने के लिए these are the values for different grades of the steel, that is Fe250, Fe415 and Fe500. yield strength दे दी, अल्टीमेट स्ट्रेंथ दे दी एंड डक्टिलिटी की वैल्यूज बता दी गई है. फॉर Fe250 द अल्टीमेट टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ इज स्पेसिफाइड एज 412 मेगापास्कल एंड इसकी यील्ड स्ट्रेंथ 250 मेगापास्कल होती है एंड द मिनिमम परसेंटेज इलोंगेशन इज 20 to 22%. ओके, for Fe415 that ultimate tensile strength is expected to be 15% more than the yield strength with a percentage elongation of 14.5%. Whereas for Fe500 grade steel, the ultimate tensile strength is expected to be only 10% more than the yield strength with a percentage elongation of 12%. Okay. One more point which I want to tell you, in the stress strain curve of HYSD bars, that is in the stress strain curve of high yield strength deformed bars which we obtained after the cold working process of mild steel bars, is that about the total strain corresponding to the yield strength. So as we all know that in this curve the yielding is gradual and no definite yield point is there. So we measured the yield strength of this material as the 0.2% proof stress. हाउ, हमने 0.2% स्ट्रेन मार्क किया ऑन द स्ट्रेन एक्सिस. 0.2% मीन्स 0.002 स्ट्रेन मार्क किया एंड फ्रॉम दैट वी हैव ड्रॉन अ लाइन पैरेलल टू द इनिशियल लीनियर पोर्शन एंड जहां पर उस लाइन ने स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व को कट किया है, corresponding to that point we have measured the stress and that stress will be the yield strength of the material. Now if I want to find out the total strain corresponding to the yield strength of this material, then draw a vertical line from this point and this will be the total strain corresponding to the yield strength of this material, right? So total strain will be the sum of this 0.002 and this part of the strain. Okay, so we have to find out how much will be this part. This we can find out using trigonometry, as we know that the slope of this line will give us the modulus of elasticity and both of these lines are parallel to each other, so the slope of this line will also be modulus of elasticity and slope is given as the perpendicular upon base. So the perpendicular here will be the magnitude of stress and that will be equal to Fy and the base here will be the strain. So this strain will be equal to perpendicular Fy divided by slope, which is modulus of elasticity. So the total strain corresponding to this yield strength of the material will be 0.002 plus this strain and this value of this strain will be Fy by Es. So the total strain corresponding to the yield strength of the material will be 0.002 plus Fy by Es. Okay. So we have talked about HYSD bars, that is high yield strength deformed bars, which are also known as CTD bars, that is cold twisted deformed bars, or TOR bars, right? Now there are some limitations of HYSD bars. Those are, first limitation, as we have already seen, that the ductility will be reduced in HYSD bars. Okay, so ductility is less in HYSD bars and then they also have less corrosion and fire resistances, right? So to overcome these limitations we use TMT bars, that is thermomechanically treated bars. Let us talk about TMT bars, that is thermomechanically treated bars. Okay, so for the manufacturing of TMT bars, both thermal and mechanical processes are used simultaneously, and in their manufacturing the hot rolled bars which are released from the finished mill are passed through the water. So because of the thermal mechanical treatment to the bars, the TMT bars will have a strong outer layer which will provide the strength and a soft core which will provide the required ductility. Okay, so we'll write these points that TMT bars are given thermomechanical treatment during their manufacturing. Okay, so TMT bars are given thermomechanical treatment during their manufacturing, and while their manufacturing, the hot rolled bars which are released from finished mill are passed through the water. Okay, so because of the thermomechanical treatment, TMT bars have hard outer layer which will provide the required strength and corrosion resistance and soft inner core which will provide the required ductility. Okay, now we'll talk about the advantages of TMT bars over HYSD bars. फर्स्ट एडवांटेज है TMT bars do not have surface flaws when compared with HYSD bars, as unlike HYSD bars, the manufacturing process in the TMT bars does not involve twisting or torsional stress. Okay, so first advantage of TMT bars over HYSD bars is that the TMT bars do not have any surface flaws because their manufacturing process do not involve any twisting or torsional stresses like the manufacturing process of HYSD bars. Okay, TMT bars को हमने थर्मोमैकेनिकल ट्रीटमेंट देकर मैन्युफैक्चर किया था, बट HYSD बार्स को मैन्युफैक्चर करने के लिए वी stretched the mild steel bars beyond yield plateau and gave some twisting or torsional stresses, right? So the HYSD bars may have some surface flaws, but TMT bars do not have any surface flaws because of the manufacturing process. Then the second advantage is that TMT bars are more flexible and ductile as compared to HYSD bars. Okay, so TMT bars are more flexible and more ductile as compared to HYSD bars. Then the third advantage is that TMT bars are lighter in weight as compared to HYSD bars. So the transportation cost will be reduced. Okay, so TMT bars are lighter in weight as compared to HYSD bars, so transportation cost will be less in TMT bars as compared to HYSD bars, right? Then TMT bars are more corrosion resistant when compared with HYSD bars. Okay, so TMT bars are more corrosion resistant when compared with HYSD bars. So these are the advantages of TMT bars over HYSD bars. So that's all in this lecture. Let us have a quick revision of what we have done in this lecture. We have studied about the reinforcing steel in this lecture, and we have seen that why the steel is chosen as reinforcing material for concrete. Then we have seen the advantages of reinforcing steel in concrete. Then we have seen the different sizes of reinforcing steel bars which are available in India. Then different grades of the reinforcing steel depending on the specified yield strength. Then different types of reinforcing bars, that is plain or deformed. Then we have studied about stress strain curves for different grades of steel. Then separately we have discussed about the stress strain curve for mild steel, that is Fe250. Afterwards we have studied about cold working process for the manufacturing of HYSD bars, that is high yield strength deformed bars. Then we have discussed the stress strain curve of HYSD bars. Afterwards we have studied about the TMT bars, that is thermomechanically treated bars, and in the last we have seen the advantages of TMT bars over the HYSD bars. Okay, so that's all in this lecture, and also we have finished the first module of the subject design of RCC structures, that is the basic properties of concrete. We have finished this first module. So thank you all.